Hello, Perfect Death here, and I'm just gonna bring a fairly quick video for updating my Dwarf Fortress here. I decided to run the game for a while, build up a little bit, and in particular what has happened fairly recently is a werebear showed up. So what type of werebeast? They get randomly generated. This one actually appeared down in this bottom right area by the river. A ranger that I have here, he basically shot at it when it appeared and it murdered the shit out of him. They are a creature that will appear at certain times of the year. People who are cursed by it will transform and they will attack everybody. So this guy, he got murdered, and I've essentially told everybody in my fortress to come to a burrow number 1, which is inside my fortress here. It's this teal highlighted area. Basically goes all throughout the inside of my fortress, past my little gate here. Now, I kind of got lucky. There were some dwarf merchants who had shown up. They're in this middle area here. There is a, let's see if I can just zoom in, super low resolution. So in this area here, this is the trading hub, and inside of here there's some dwarven wagons and pack mules, and they come with their own little guard retinue. So over here, they've been actually fighting this werebeast. It came along, murdered a muskox, which is now mutilated, and then over in this area there is a group of spear dwarves, sword dwarves, that sort of thing. Now the combat in this game happens in turns, right? So right now it's paused, and when turns happen, the action will occur here. So the werebear child, Zostra Kofe Brujit, he showed up, and at the very start, when he appeared here, he grabbed the ranger in the upper back with his teeth, or grabbed the ranger's upper back teeth with his upper arm. I don't know how you grab somebody's teeth with your upper arm, but it did that somehow. I'm assuming it just like arm held the guy, and then the werebear bit the ranger in the right hand, tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone through his actions there. I wonder, let's see. Okay, that's better text. And then an artery was opened when it bit him in the hand, and a ligament was torn. The force also twists his wrist, tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone, tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone for both his wrists, because the game will actually tracks every single part of your body along with the different muscles, tendons, ligaments, arteries, things like that. So the ranger, he does his turn where he tries to break the grip, but he's unable to. He bashes the werebear with his steel crossbow. Earlier he actually takes a shot at it, which does actually do damage. If I go to the ranger, he starts off shooting at a muskox, and then all of a sudden this werebear shows up and then proceeds to murder him. So we go back to the werebear. We can see that in the combat, he bites him in the upper arm again, tearing through the muscle, opening another artery. The force twists his shoulder. He grabs the ranger by his cloak with his lower left arm, so he's essentially holding him with both arms, and then he bites him in the lower body, bruising his guts, tearing his muscle, and then he shakes the ranger around by the lower body with his mouth, basically, tearing apart the lower body, muscle, and spilling the ranger's guts. Also opens an artery in the lower body. He shakes him around some more, which causes the lower body, the spine to collapse, and also opens up another artery. A tendon gets torn, and then he basically bleeds out. Most deaths in this game are from a blood loss. As if you can get the absolute shit beaten out of characters in this game, and they can still come back alive. It can be pretty gnarly, but in this case, he just bled out from all of the arteries that were torn open. This werebear then goes after a muskox and basically beats it up. Grabs it, shakes it around. You can see big muskox takes a while. And then eventually he chokes the muskox and shakes it around, which causes an artery in the head to be opened. And so that's probably why the muskox died. Then the spear dwarf shows up, and they kind of have a bit of a fight here, but the spear dwarf is pretty good because he ends up hitting the werebear in the leg, fracturing the bone, and that causes the werebear to fall over. And when you fall over, you get way fewer actions per essentially a certain amount of turns, right? So every little tick of time, stuff can make actions depending how fast they are. Falling over makes you very slow. And so then this spear dwarf gets to stab him in the arm, tearing the muscle, severs a sensory nerve, and then a swords dwarf shows up and chops at its other leg, tearing the muscle. Spear dwarf stabs it in the head, tearing the muscle, fracturing the skull. Swords dwarf comes in, slashes it with his in the paw, tearing apart the muscle, opening an artery. Spear dwarf stabs the werebear in the upper leg, chipping the bone. Swords dwarf stabs it in the tail, fracturing the bone. Hammer dwarf shows up, and he bashes the werebear in the upper leg, only bruises. Then the swords dwarf slashes the werebear child in the upper leg with the sword, and that severs the leg off. Spear dwarf then goes to town on its muscle. So you can actually, even in this little area here, we can see there is a left upper leg just sitting there, right? View. This is Zostra Kofebrujit's left upper leg, right? So where is... Yeah, so right now the hammer dwarf is actually standing right on top of the werebear. Now, if I press the period button a few times, you can see that something happened. A guy moved. If we go over here, then we can see the werebear tried to attack the spear dwarf, but he jumps away. Then this guy bashes it. So you can go through the combat like step by step. So if I like press period a couple of times, then go back to report, then we can see that they had a couple more actions. Another spear dwarf with a silver spear shows up, and the swords dwarf kicks it. This can definitely take a while. I'm just going to unpause it and then see. Yeah, there we go. So we go to the werebear here. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's quite a bit. So if we go through some of this, they're basically just wailing on it. We can see a swords dwarf stabs it, and the sword actually gets stuck in the body. He then has to take an action to pull the sword out. He gains possession back over his sword. And he does that a couple of times, basically just stabs it a whole bunch. Right, so like in this case he actually slashes it in the upper body, and then the sword gets stuck in the upper body when he slashed at it, so he wasn't able to cleave completely through, because you can do that. You can have people who can cleave completely through like whole bodies if they're really good. And yeah, it's just a wall of them like stabbing it and beating it till near the very end. The last blow, the werebear still trying to punch at them. We can see a spear dwarf stabs it in the arm, and I'm guessing it probably just bled out at this point. Like, werebeasts are extremely strong. They take like forever to go down. Or actually, no, I think they're still fighting. Are they? Nope, I think it's dead. If I go to units, I go to others, I think, yeah, it died. Oh, there's a missing wagon. Neat. So I've started setting up a place to bury my dead ranger, or else he'll become a ghost and get up to all kinds of nasty things. So I gotta bury my ghost, or my body, before somebody becomes a ghost and ends up causing big problems. So let's zoom out back to, I think, where do I want this at? I think this was the normal resolution that I was running before. Anyway, just as a quick update, I've been looking to try to get a wall perimeter built around the fortress, like a sort of outer wall area, so that I can have access to all these fruit trees here, and then area for grazing animals, stuff like that. Further down here, I've got a residential area, smoothing the stone for the Great Hall. Got a temple, things like that set up there. And further down, I've been exploring for mining resources. I've got galena here that I've been mining out. That is a silver lead ore. Further down, we go to here. This is where I think it's called cassiterite. It is a tin ore. You can use it to mix with copper to make bronze, but I have no copper so far. I haven't found any copper anyway. If I go further down, I've been looking to expand this area here. Pretty sure I got a pump set up here. Oh no, not quite. They're not done yet with the pump. But I'll pump out some water to muddy the ground so that I can get more stuff growing down in the caves here, so that I can have a reserve area for animals. And then this is where I'm gonna put my place to bury bodies. And down. There's another underground cave here. And then further down from that, there is another cave. Forgotten Beast showed up here. It was a blob that shoots webs. You don't want to mess with web spitting beasts. They are horrible to fight. And then down here, this is where I have my magma forges, because underground here there is an underground ocean of lava. And this is a magma crab here. A small rock-eating creature that lives in molten rock. It scurries on little feet and swims through liquid rock with sharp wings. It uses magma to digest rock and spits out burning globs. Those burning globs are horrible because it creates fire. Fire creates smoke. Your people can't see through smoke. So nasty stuff. But yeah. This is basically as far down as I can see so far. But yeah, I've actually been expanding my workshop here to make glass with a glass kiln, a magma kiln, a magma forge, and magma smelters. Saves on the resources because I don't need to chop down as much tree in order to make charcoal to fuel the industry. I can just use magma to act as the fuel. So that'll be it for this video. Take care.